Welcome, friends. Welcome to my first ever project on this channel. It's Santa Lucia, a furry visual novel. A college furry visual novel. By Storm Singer Studios. So, real talk, I've been having a bit of college nostalgia lately, so I figured this would be a perfect project to dive into as my first ever playthrough project. So let's start. I'm already starting off like poorly. I didn't even. Here we go. I didn't click there to start. I was just thinking like it was any other game where you just click anywhere on the screen. I failed already. University of Santa Lucia. So a heads up before we start. This is only on build 10. At least that's the build I'm currently playing. So once the game ends from this build, updates will be whenever new updates arrive, new builds arrive. So just wanted to give a heads up. So let's start the game. When darkness falls and all seems lost, to fight through it all, no matter the cost. Hold close to the love in your heart, for it is love that makes life special. Nathan Moretti, class of 2022. And now let's enter the world of Santa Lucia. Okay, to be honest, I was not expecting an opening. I was expecting, like, in most visual novels, especially, like, you know, like ish.io type of stuff, I usually don't expect, like, an opening like this. It usually just goes straight to the point. So, this is actually pretty awesome. We get to Fox Boy. We get to Lion Guy. I'm not going to pretend. I actually played a little bit of this game, so I actually know these characters, but I will introduce them as this story unfolds. Got a panda bear. And... oh, okay, this is like the staff. Gotcha. It's actually really cool how these backgrounds are designed, you know, with all like the... it kind of feels like those painting... it reminds me of those paintings. I was going to say something, but I was just like... it reminds me of like those very kind of like slightly surrealist paintings, the ones with just like the... it looks kind of real enough, but you know, all the swirls and stuff, just... I don't know. There's something I really like about that. Nice aesthetic. Squirrel girl. Okay, so straight up we're like actually getting like a bunch of scenery. That's actually pretty cool. I'm actually pretty excited for this. You know what this kind of reminds me of is... it kind of reminds me of the opening of the Silver Case to some extent. Though, like, where the Silver Case uses, like, real-life footage alongside with some of these, like, some of the artwork. There's, like, you know, artwork, you know, background artwork and stuff like that, but it's really cool. It definitely gives me that Silver Case vibes. Though I'm pretty sure... oh. Oh. Maybe this will be Silver Case vibes. We'll see. Alright, and there we go with the title screen. Santa Lucia. I honestly was not expecting that opening. But that just actually makes this whole thing even better. Just kind of giving you a little bit of a taste of what's to come, you know? September 1st, 2018. I let out a sigh of relief. I see Ben is our main character. I'm confident that the plane has stabilized now. Fun fact, I actually never rode in a plane before, so I can't relate. Jeez, I don't think I'll ever get used to the takeoff. The lights start to fade, presumably so passengers can actually get some shut-eye after dealing with multiple delays at the airport. I hope I'm able to make it there in time. Lean back in my chair, trying my best to relax even though I'm quite aware that I'll be in a huge time crunch the moment we land in San Francisco. I tap a small screen on the back of the chair in front of me. After pressing a few prompts, I pull up the flight itinerary. Looks like we'll arrive around 6 a.m. That doesn't give me a lot of time to figure out how I'm getting to Santa Lucia, but I guess I'll figure that out when I get there. After pulling out the complimentary pillow from beneath the seat, I place it between me and the plane's walls and gently rest my head on it. My head never reaches the pillow. Instead, there's no wall. Before I even realize what's happening, I'm falling. I try to scream, but my voice never comes. I plummet down in pitch blackness. Pink fog develops around me as I reach terminal velocity. I don't understand what's happening. Is this how my life ends? The waves rush beneath me. As I come to my senses, I see him hovering just above the ocean, staring out at the infinite nothingness that stretches before me. The breeze I'm feeling is so cold. I try to wrap my arms around myself, but my body doesn't respond. Before the panic sets in, I find myself suddenly whisked forward, jetting across the surface of the water faster than I ever thought possible. The surprise makes me gasp for air. I try to open my mouth, but the sensation never comes. Instead, it feels like all the oxygen has been sucked out of my lungs, leaving me with a terrifying feeling. Suffocation. I feel every nerve in my body flare up as I try desperately to fight the paralysis keeping me from struggling. The ocean below becomes a blur. Reality itself bends. Light gives way to dark, dark to light. Colors fade and distort. For a moment, I believe I'm seeing the world for what it truly is. just as quickly as that feeling sets in, it fades. I'm floating above what looks like a city. Misty mountains loom over countless skyscrapers, demonstrating that nature is still queen of grandiosity. Despite not being able to move my head, I'm able to see the ocean in my peripheral view. A coastal city, huh? I'm startled when the scene before me instantly changes to a large gathering of people in the streets. We walk along what looks like a major street together. I'm vaguely aware of a larger hand holding me. There's a sense of comfort, safety. Like I'm where I'm supposed to be and nothing bad will harm me as long as this presence is here. The figure points out at something on the street ahead. I feel jubilation bubble up from within me, making me want to cry out in joy. The crowd around me cheers as a procession of slow-moving floats come around the corner ahead. The figure holding my hand suddenly picks me up and puts me on his shoulders. As the first float drives by, I catch a glimpse of a banner hanging over its side. But for some reason, I'm not able to understand what's written on it. Almost as if I've forgotten how to read English. It's a bizarre feeling, knowing full well that what I'm seeing is a language I know, but not being able to understand what's written. I soon realize that the faces of the crowd seem to shift moment to moment. They are never still, giving the impression of a masquerade dance where everyone's constantly changing masks. I feel a member of the procession glance at me with a featureless gaze. Instead of feeling afraid, I feel excited. The figure reaches a hand out to me. Arm extended, the face morphs into that of a beautiful young cat. My mind floods with recognition. I'd give anything to say her name again, but I have no voice. As I try to grasp her hand, all color fades from view, leaving me in pitch black. Whoa! The feeling of being whisked away returns, taking my breath away. It feels like I'm being torpedoed across time and space. It's intense, overwhelming, like the seizure I had in first grade. I want desperately to stop this loss of control, but my body has plans of its own. I'm left with no choice but to bear it and hope for the best. Light returns to the world, forming and reshaping reality around me. I find myself standing outside amongst the crowd again, this time facing what looks like someone speaking at a podium. I feel a sense of happiness at what's transpiring, though I know it tinged with nervousness and anxiety. From my limited point of view, I'm able to see various buildings surrounding me. They all look very different from one another. Like an effort was made to make them stand out. For some reason this place looks familiar to me, but my brain refuses to cooperate. The speaker addresses the crowd, but the words are muffled. I can't hear them from where I'm standing, so I try to get closer. I push my way through the faceless crowd. When I get as close to the podium as possible, I'm filled with shock as I recognize the speaker as the same girl I saw earlier. She looks down at me with worry in her eyes, but reaches out her hand once again. before my finger can touch hers. All light and color is drained instantly from the world, leaving me hovering in the abyss. I see nothing, feel nothing, perceive nothing. Complete sensory deprivation. All the hairs on my body stand on end as something calls out from behind me. I feel scared, alone, threatened. But something compels me to turn around and face it. I hover far above the city. Everything is tinted red from an unseen force. When I take a look at the sky, I see even the sun has changed form. Something bad is happening. A loud boom catches my attention, followed by another. My eyes dart quickly across the city, trying to locate the source. My heart sinks when I realize what's happening. I find the parade I saw earlier consumed by the explosions. The surrounding buildings collapse under the pressure, falling over onto the screaming crowd. Sorry. My apologies. Destruction continues to rapture the city. Everywhere I turn, another area goes up in flames. Averting my gaze from the carnage, I look up at the sky. In spite of the horror I see below me, I'm disturbed by a peculiar emotion I feel deep within. Pleasure. I feel a cold chill run down my spine. This isn't how someone should feel, right? I look back down at the city. By this point, everything has been leveled by the explosions. Everything except... I'm whisked forward faster than before. It leaves me with a sick feeling in my stomach. I fly right past the place where the podium was and arrive in front of the most magnificent building in the square. Screams echo around me. Even though everything else is in flames, a single structure seemed to be spared. Thoughts suddenly run through my head, and I notice I'm running into the building as fast as I can. I'm so sorry, Storm Singer, but I'm not going to pronounce that. The first coherent words I've understood so far. Before I have a chance to fully register them, I burst through the wooden doors. No time to think. Just run. I have to get to them before. Yeah. Dashing up a long stairwell, I make my way towards the roof with purpose. I know exactly what's going on, and I have to stop it. There's nothing else I can do anymore. The door creaks as I force it open. A figure I recognize stands at the edge of the building, looming over the destruction below. I cry out their name, but the symbols are drowned out by the screams and chaos surrounding me. What are you doing here, Ben? I'm stopped cold. Time seems to halt in this moment alongside me. With all sound removed from the world, all I'm left with is the sensation that I just made the biggest mistake of my life. That's when they turned around. figure stares directly into my soul. I jolt awake from the nightmare, placing both hands on my knees and panting heavily. What the fuck was that? I gulp deeply. They haven't been that intense since... The plane starts to shake violently. Oh no. I grip tightly onto the armrests of my seat, preparing for the worst. We are experiencing minor turbulence. Please fasten your seatbelts until directed otherwise. Thank you. Eh? In an instant, all the adrenaline that built up is released. I slap myself on the forehead. Get a grip, Rivers. I do as the flight attendant says, clicking and tightening my seatbelt. I rest my head back on the pillow, though I don't close my eyes. No, not after that. Ugh, I feel sick. About 5 minutes pass before I hear the noise signaling we're free to unfasten again. Excuse me, I need to use the restroom. I catch one of the attendants as they're walking by. Of course, right this way. I try squeezing my way past the lion sitting in the same row as me. Whoa! But a brief shake of the plane caused me to lose my balance, planting my butt right in his lap. Hey, watch it. I was enjoying something here. Sorry, it was an accident. I get up as quickly as I can. The lion brushes off the tablet he has on his lap and shakes his head. Great. Now I've got an ass print on the screen. My stomach starts to churn even worse. I'm really sorry. He shrugs his shoulders and wipes it off with a napkin. It's all good, dude. With my face flushed red, I finally reach the walkway and follow the attendant to the restroom. The moment the door closes behind me, my stomach gurgles one last time. I immediately fall to my knees and throw up in the toilet. My head feels like it's spinning. With the last of my rudimentary fast food dinner spewed out from my mouth, I wipe my face with some toilet paper and attempt to stand again. My reflection in the small mirror nearby catches my eye. Ugh, I look like complete shit. I recompose myself as best as I can, combing through my hair with my fingers. I hope I'll have time to take a shower or something before orientation. This is going to be a long day. I flush the toilet and exit the restroom, thanking the flight attendant as I walk back to my seat. Excuse me, sorry. I have to slip past that lion again. I make sure I'm holding on to the seat in front of him so I don't have another incident. No problem. I try my best to relax once I sit down, but I can tell I'm still breathing hard from the nightmare. You fly before, kid? Yeah? Caught off guard by his surprisingly earnest question. I feign a smile, trying my best to keep this from getting awkward. Yeah, I'm fine. This is my 4th time in a plane. It's no big deal. Sure. I saw how much you're twitching and fidgeting in your sleep, dude. I remember my first plane ride. So, it's not like that, I swear. I just had a dream. I scratched under my chin and grinned widely. Wow. I didn't realize I was in the presence of the yeah, guys, just prepare for me to just slip up a lot. I'm sorry. Wow. I didn't realize I was in the presence of the Cheshire Cat. My expression slowly fades into dismay. The lion extends his hand in my direction. Name's Russell. I'm at a momentary loss for words. I'm Ben. Not wanting to leave him hanging, I wrap my hand in his and let it sit. Nice to meet you. What? He grasps my hand tight and shakes it up and down violently. Likewise. Once he's satisfied with the mangling, he relaxes back into the seat. So, tell me more about this dream you were having. Was it spooky? Or sexy? He's clearly trying to get a rise out of me. So that kind of guy, eh, Mr. Russell? For the first time since his plane ride started, I managed to maintain composure. How should I respond to this? I'm gonna play along. This guy's pretty cool. Both, actually. My Cheshire grin widens as I lean in towards Russell. I'm intrigued. Pray tell. So, I was running towards the horizon, away from something chasing me. A figure stood just out of sight. I knew they were there to save me. As I called out to them for help, they slowly turned around and were revealed as none other than a muscle hunk Albert Einstein. I'd jolt awake too if I saw something like that. Einstein is just too good to be true. Sigmund Freud believed that dreams were a window to your deepest, darkest desires. So, I assume you're really into physics? Oh, totally. I give him a big, exaggerated wink. So am I. Most of the time. I sink back into my seat and I take a deep breath. The thing is, I've had chronic nightmares for as long as I can remember. Is that so? I'm sorry to hear that. I shake my head. There was something about this one that really got to me. Does it happen often? No. I know how you feel, dude. I've been having bad dreams all year, so I can sympathize. The lion shrugs his shoulders and smiles. Well, I'm not going to ask you what your nightmare was about. I'm not that cruel. Yeah, it's probably no big deal. It's most likely just the stressful circumstances causing you to feel things that aren't real. Spoken like a true psychology undergrad. Anyway, those delays were murder, weren't they? My shoulders droop. Ugh. I was supposed to be moved in at my university last night for orientation today. Mentioning school seems to pique Russell's interest. Did you say university? Yeah. If you don't mind me asking, what school are you going to? University of Santa Lucia. I got this huge scholarship thanks to my dad's job at WNC. There's a brief, unexpected pause before Russell speaks again. Good old World News Corp. Handing out scholarships to those in need like candy. I scratch behind my ear. I wouldn't exactly say I'm in need. I'm sure you've earned every. I'm sure you've earned every penny, kid. There's a playful tone in his retort, but I can't help but sense bitterness underneath the surface. So, you're a freshman at USL, right? Yeah. I nod my head in agreement. Then I've got some great news for you. I'm also a student at USL. A junior, in fact. Oh, really? I guess that means the chance we'll see each other after this damn plane lands. That's awesome. I didn't expect to meet someone from school so early. Sorry. Tell me what it's like. I can't wait to see it. You're telling me you've never been there yet? Is that bad? I dig your enthusiasm. What's your major? That's not important. What's important is what's your major. He points a finger at me for emphasis. Have any idea what you're doing? Have any idea what you're gonna study, kid? I mean, I've gone down the list of things I'm interested in, but I haven't really settled on anything. Dear Lord, you're gonna be a lost kitten. Fortunately for you, the orientation includes a survey for freshmen with undeclared majors. Your mentor will help you figure out what you want to do. A mentor? What do you mean? Actually, I don't think I want to ruin the surprise just yet. What? Man, you can't just bring something like that up and leave me hanging. Watch me. He pulls out his tablet from beside him and powers it back on. Don't ignore me! Have you ever watched Anchorman? Is that the movie with Ron Burgundy? Yep. I've only seen bits and pieces, mostly on YouTube. Want to know a little secret? Sure? He shrugs his shoulders and shakes his knees. Help. Shakes his head. That's how the newsrooms actually runs. What? You're kidding, right? He winks at me and smiles. You can trust me on that one. Want to watch it with me? I'm surprised by the offer. Like, right now? Oh, don't act like you've got anything better to do. I can already tell that you're not planning to sleep again. So what's the harm in it? Point taken. I scoot in closer to get a better view. With a smile, he hands me an earbud. That's what I wanted to hear. He arranges the tablet so it's sitting on the armrest between us, and presses play on the screen. I stretch out my arms and let out a relaxed moan. Getting through TSA is such a pain. Welcome to San Francisco, Ben. Russell smiles down at me. Clearly he flies often. Ugh. Me, on the other hand, the lack of rest on the plane coupled with all the delays in the port means I'm running on almost 24 hours without sleep. I pull out my phone to check the time. 6 a.m. At least the plane landed when they said it would. Now I've got to figure out how to get to Santa Lucia by 8. With a frown, I started poking around other menus in my phone. You don't have a plan already? Nah, it's no big deal. I'm just going to call my dad and see if his friend is available. I was supposed to be picked up by him last night, but, yeah. The delays. Well, I've got some calls to make, too. Good luck finding a ride, kid. Thanks, Russell. Hopefully we'll run into each other at school, yeah? I think you'll be surprised at how small and close-knit college can be. Facts. With that, he walks off towards one of the restaurants in the airport. I luckily have plenty of battery in my phone until sometime this afternoon, give or take. Find myself a nice corner to stand in away from the crowd, scroll through my contacts. There we go. Hopefully Dad hasn't left for work yet. What time is it in Chicago? Rivers speaking. He answers the phone with a curt, almost annoyed response. Hey, Dad, it's Ben. I hear a long sigh on the other end. Ben, you know I'm at work right now. Yeah. I scratched the side of my head. I'm sorry, jet lag and stuff. I'm heading into a meeting. Why are you calling? Oh, quickly, now. He always does this. Sorry. Do you know if Marshall's able to take me to Santa Lucia? Son, you missed your chance. He was waiting for you all night, and you never showed up. He's at work now, too, so you're out of luck. I told you it wasn't my fault. How was I supposed to know my flight would get delayed twice? I notice I'm losing my cool, so I stop and take a meditative breath. My sister would be shaking her head at me right now if she saw this. Sorry. You have money, son. It's called Duber or Drift. But stepping into the meeting room. Call me after work, Bennett. Okay. Talk to you soon. Before I'm even able to finish, he hangs up. Yep. Classic Dad. Damn it! I resist the urge to kick the wall. Stay calm. There's no reason to panic. I bury my face down on my phone again and open up the Drift app. Hey, kid. I look up and see Russell sipping from a soft drink cup and handing me something. You want some fries? That's certainly unexpected. Go on, take them. You know you want some. He emphasizes the words like a taunt. I chuckle under my breath and relax. Kinda, yeah. Take the box of fries he's handing me and start shoveling them in my mouth. Do stressful calls with your dad always make you hungry? I stop instantly right before putting another fry in my mouth. Oh, what? He shakes his head and smiles. I heard everything. My shoulders slump and my gaze falls to the floor. I didn't mean to be so loud. Don't worry, kid. Happens to the best of us. You know, my dad's the same way. Do this, do that. Put your mind to it and you'll never succeed. I swear I'll punch the lights out of you next time you talk back to me. Gotta love him. I stare at him with my head cocked to the side. Yeah, just like that. My dad's never threatened me. I think? Anyway, my ride should be here soon. Oh, congratulations. I hold up my phone. I was just about to call Drift until I was rudely interrupted by French fries. I stick out my tongue at him and wink. Cute. Well, since I'm nothing more than an annoyance to you, I guess I'll have to take my offer with me. He smirks as he turns his back to me and walks for the entryway. Wait, what was that? I chase after him. Never mind, it's nothing. I was going to see if you wanted to join me on the way to Santa Lucia, but I thought wrong. So stop! He turns to look at me with a cheeky grin. I'm waiting. He's playing me like a fiddle. Please take me with you. The two of us stand together in the shade under a nearby awning. I keep glancing at my phone's clock, getting more anxious by the minute. Almost 6:45. How long does it take to get to Santa Lucia, Russell? From here, about an hour. Don't worry. We'll get there in time. You sure? I hate being late. Positive. He points a finger up the road. There's our ride now. Huh? I turn to look in the direction he's facing. He picks up his things and starts walking towards the road. Follows suit, still confused. That's when a gorgeous white limo drives up to the curb. Russell waits patiently while the driver gets out and runs around to open the car door. What? All I can do is stand with my jaw practically on the floor. You getting in or not? I'm more than happy to leave you, if that ain't your style. Coming! I pick up my bags and stagger off the shock. Yeah. No freaking way. The driver assists me in getting everything into the back. Thanks. He merely nods his head and bows before closing the door. I stand awkwardly hunched over in the limbo too, scared to look around. Go ahead and take a seat, dude. Okay. The vehicle starts moving, causing me to lose balance momentarily. I manage to not fall over. I really don't want to cause any damage to this thing. The sound of music starts playing from the huge speakers on the right side. I notice Russell is fully relaxed near the middle of the vehicle. Shoes kicked off and laying across the long seat. I gently sit down in the seat in the back, careful not to scruff the smoother leather of my shoes and pants. Jeez, man, it's just a limo. He sits up, mockingly smiles at me. Huh? Sit up straight. Sit up straight. Be on your best behavior. He mimics what I'm doing, probably to show me how ridiculous I look. I bet that's what you're telling yourself in your head, yeah? Relax, Ben. You've got nothing to worry about. I've trashed more of these things than you'll ever will in your lifetime. So, just put your feet up on the seat here and take a nap. It's a long ride. You'll probably need it. If you say so. I follow his advice and allow myself to sink into the seat before putting my feet up on the other. Christ, dude, this is a limo! What the hell are you doing? What'd you just say? I'm just kidding, man. Do what you want. I'm gonna smoke. Pulls out a strange pouch necklace looking thing from one of his bags and wraps it around his neck. He then flips it open, pulls out a cigarette. He notices me staring. You don't mind, do you? Huh? No, I just... didn't expect you to be a smoker. He shrugs his shoulders. Life is short. Might as well enjoy the time I have, right? Guess. So naive. He lights a cigarette and rolls down a window on the other side of the vehicle. If it gets too much for your virgin lungs, just tell me. Alright. I relax again, this time merely resting my weight on the seat instead of relaxing the way Russell is. Stare out the window. He opened and watches the San Francisco scenery rolls by. So, what did your dad do? He looks up at me from the position he's laying in. He's an executive at the Chicago branch of WNC. He stares at me for a moment before responding. Interesting. Would have never guessed. What about yours? Pat the chair I'm sitting on. A limo like this certainly doesn't come cheap. My dad? The laughing fit causes him to slip up and take his cigarette out of his mouth. My dad's just some no-name millionaire asshole. He invests a lot. What else can I say? He relents with a shrug, folding his arms as he leans back into his chair. I know he likes giving kids scholarships. He smiles while looking out the open window. You said earlier that I'd probably be a lost kitten in school. What of it? I chuckle a bit under my breath and scratch my cheek. Is there anything you can tell me that'll make me less so? What's this? He leans in towards me and smirks. Are you asking Senpai Russell for guidance? Excuse me? I look at him quizzically, not expecting this turn in the conversation. I may not be your mentor, but I'm totally down to be your senpai. He fist pumps and cheers. Yes! I finally got a kohai! I smile in confusion while raising an eyebrow. What the heck are you talking about? Don't worry about it. Let's just say you made my day, alright? Okay. Great. He pats the seat next to him. Come over here, and I'll tell you all about Santa Lucia, kid. What have I gotten myself into?